Hirohiko Araki, the man behind the series we all know and love, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But what did he do before the series that brought him to fame? With the beginning of 2017, the 30th anniversary of JoJo, I thought I would go back and go over each of Araki's works before JoJo. Hello everyone, this is the RPG Monger, and today I will be talking about Cool Shock BT, the manga Araki wrote right before Bao. Cool Shock BT is a very strange manga, and you really wouldn't have expected that it was drawn or written by Araki. With mystery elements and villains seemingly out of Saturday morning cartoons, this is for sure an interesting one. Now, before I go over this series chapter by chapter, I'm just gonna say if you haven't read it, by all means go do that. So that being said, let's take a look at how this series starts. So it's weird, with every subsequent chapter of Cool Shock BT, it just gets longer and longer, strangely enough, with the first chapter only serving as your typical character introduction kind of deal, with their main character, and I'm not even joking, Koichi, and his first time meeting BT, his soon-to-become best friend. And what an introduction it is, with him tricking Koichi by spitting out 5 whole eggs out of his mouth. Or so it seems. You see, BT is a trickster of sorts who enjoys messing with people, with his many magic tricks, quote-unquote magic tricks. Like with the 5 eggs, it turns out he only had 1 in his mouth and 4 in his sleeve. And pretty much that's all the significant stuff that happens in chapter 1. On to chapter 2, and I've gotta say, now that I look at him, he really does look like Koichi from Diamond is Unbreakable. Especially Koichi early on, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, this chapter opens with an ongoing theme of Koichi telling us, the reader, about him and BT's adventures. This chapter takes place in a summer camp with the bullies of the camp beating up BT after he sassed them. Though since Koichi tried to help him, BT lets Koichi in on his devious plans of revenge. What BT is planning to do is he plans to put a very aggressive hornet inside of the bully's pocket. And it's sort of funny because they actually explain how a 12-year-old would even be able to catch such a hornet. And they even say if kids try this at home, they're responsible. I wonder honestly, if some kid, some really naive kid went out and tried to catch this hornet and got so stung. So anyways, it turns out the pocket he put the hornet in was actually the pocket of the crony of the bully's pocket, who in turn got laughed at by the bully once he got stung. This, however, was all part of BT's plan, as the crony was misled by BT. That in fact, the bully put the hornet inside of his pocket, which then leads him to stab the bully out of anger. Like, that went from a 0 to a 10, just like that. Like, these 80s kids are savage as shit. I misjudged them completely. Then at the end of the chapter, there's a little step-by-step instruction on how to do one of BT's tricks, which I think is a little cool, unique addition. On to chapter 3, where BT, Koichi, and a student named Nino Mori are plotting against the seemingly perfect Date, who BT has a grudge against after getting too close to his crush. The main trick to use this time around, however, is a real special one. This trick involves acting like you're dead, so what ends up happening is they trick Date into thinking he killed Nino Mori, and end up bribing him to stay quiet about it. In retrospect, the guy really didn't do anything wrong. BT, on the other hand, is basically giving him a panic attack when he's just trying to go about his daily life. And just a side note here, but is it me or is this just the most tame manga Araki has ever written? Like, so far we haven't had any animal abuse. I'm honestly surprised. And barely any violence, really. It truly does have a Saturday morning cartoon feel to it, with some mystery elements spliced in though. On to chapter 4, where things get even more ridiculous, when BT and Koichi are outside and they're interrupted by 2 men dressed in army outfits. Like at this point, these guys are just harassing children, like nothing more, nothing less. Oh, and this shit happens. I'm not going anywhere near that. The long story short, BT once again tricks the 2 old men with this impossible trick, and just look at this outfit. It even has a skull on it. Like, how much more Saturday cartoon can you get than that? Like, this is so ridiculous that it's fantastic. Honestly, I would say I'm enjoying this even more than I enjoyed Gorgeous Irene. On to chapter 5, and things just get more and more strange, and in this one, BT just straight up commits a crime. No joke. This chapter in a nutshell is 2 children steal priceless fossils from a museum with a creepy guard chasing them. And more on that guard, like I said, this series has been pretty tame, but what the hell is this line? Like, I don't know where you come up with this shit, Araki. But seriously, what self-respecting adult would even say this shit? Like, the amounts of no that come from this guy is just overwhelming. And how does he get defeated? With a fire hydrant, of course. and in the end, BT's grandma congratulates him. What? Oh, and the trick at the end of this chapter is an interesting rubber band trick that honestly would be pretty cool to do. Now, on to the final chapter, Chapter 6, where things hit the peak in strangeness when a kid fakes getting hurt by Koichi's dad and takes advantage of the family because of his guilt. Though then, things go to the next level when the kid's entire family comes over and basically sets up residence in their home due to the dad's guilt. Like, I get this manga's more aimed for kids, but still, there is no stopping Araki here. Oh, and I guess it's time for me to eat my words because here it is, guys, Araki's signature animal abuse. I knew he had it in him, I knew he couldn't resist. And then the manga ends, with BT poisoning the entire family and forcing them to leave Koichi's home. And nice finale edge close there, BT, really ending it off on a happy note? Now, I have a few things I found really interesting me while reading this manga. First of all are the large comedic themes throughout the entire series that really caught me off guard, since of all things Araki has done, he has never really made the main focuses of his manga comedy. Though then again, I still haven't read the other two manga before Cool Shock BT. Oh, and before I forget, Araki does do one thing that directly carries over to Jojo. Can you guess what it is? It's the weird triangular line designs that he does in part 1. And in part 2, I'm pretty sure. You see what I mean, right? But honestly, besides that, if I just showed you this picture, could you say it was by Araki? The only similar feature that I can see are the huge ass eyebrows, but that's pretty much it, honestly. Overall though, as its own entity, I quite enjoyed Cool Shock BT. It was quite unique and refreshing and had just the right vibes for an enjoyable experience. If you're new and like these kinds of videos, do subscribe if you wish. And today's cool thing of the day is Youjo Senki, Saga of Tanya the Evil. Honestly, I didn't think I would enjoy this anime from the looks of it when I was predicting it back in my Anime 2016 video, but watching it now, like with 4 episodes out now, it's pretty good, and I'd recommend it to all of you, and I may just do a video on it. But that being said, I'm the RPG Monger, and don't forget that each and every one of you are fantastic.